Hi, my name is Sarish Sudhakaran, and in this video, I'm going to continue the series on interview lighting for interior locations. First, we looked at three-point lighting and why people use it, and then I walked you through my lighting setup for interviews for interiors. In this video, I'm going to talk about two things. First, how to get rid of the ugly green color cast on skin tones caused by LED lights, and second, a step-by-step system that will help you light interviews for interiors. Nowadays, everyone's into LED lights. Even the major brands are switching. Unfortunately, the brand names don't come cheap, but you can buy cheap LED lights online, and I've reviewed a few of them so you can check them out on my channel. The only downside to some of them is they cause a green color cast or green spike on skin tones, and it's not easy to remove. You don't notice them on camera, but if you compare them side by side with the same shot lit with either tungsten light or daylight, you'll see the difference immediately. Now, the best way to look out for this is to use a vector scope. So how do you get rid of the green color spikes? There are three ways. You think the easiest way is to get rid of it in post using color correction tools. Unfortunately, it's the hardest way. Imagine two people eating the same meal. One guy enjoys it immensely while the other dies from disgust. This is exactly how LED lights affect skin tones. Every time the ambient color temperature changes or the exposure varies, the effect changes. To make things worse, it affects people with different skin tones differently. So let's say you're interviewing 5 people. Now all of them will have to be individually color corrected, and that takes a lot of time. The second way to get rid of the green color cast is the best way, but you're not going to like it. Buy expensive LED lights. But be careful of some brands that charge thousands of dollars for lights that still cause a green spike. The problem is with the LED technology. I'm sure in 5 years we won't be worrying about it much, but right now we have to deal with it. The third way is what I'm going to cover here, because it is affordable and will allow you to continue shooting. However, be forewarned, it is a compromise. The third way is to use specially made gels or filters that you put in front of the light. These are called minus green filters. In this video, I'll review the Zircon range of minus green filters from Lee, but you can try whatever brand is available in your country. These filters are made specifically for LEDs, so don't try to use the ones made for fluorescent lights because you're likely to get unpredictable results. The Zircon minus green filters, as the name suggests, tries to take away the green spike without affecting the rest of the colors, including green, because you don't want to remove green, only the green color cast on the skin tone. It's a tricky and delicate color operation. Now, the opposite of green on the color spectrum is magenta, and that's why the Zircon range looks magenta. They come in 5 strengths from 801 to 805, the lower number being stronger. Now, one thing you might have realized is because these are magenta, adding them on to the LED lights will turn everything else a little more magenta. That means you'll need to white balance your shot after you apply these gels. I was given this pack for free by reps from Lee at Broadcast India last year. The pack contains 12 sheets of 12-inch square gels in 3 types, minus green, amber, and diffusion. I'm only going to be focusing on the minus green range in this video. Now, when I said removing the green spike was a delicate color operation, I wasn't joking. Depending on who makes the LEDs and how the manufacturers implement the electronics inside, each fixture might have a different color spectrum and response. So it's extremely hard, maybe it's impossible, to make minus green gels that will satisfy all types of fixtures. The only way to get it right is to design a filter for a specific light. And if that's possible, the manufacturer should have done it in the first place. So it would be asinine to assume this will work out perfectly. The best I'm hoping for is to make things a little better, and you will lose some amount of light by applying a filter over it, so the trade-off better be worth it. I tested these filters with 3 affordable lights. The first is the Yongnuo YN900, which definitely has a green color cast as I've shown in my review. The second is a cheap, no-name on-camera light, and the last one is the Nangwon CN60F LED Fresnel I reviewed recently. I compared the results with a 200-watt tungsten lamp. Every time a gel is applied or removed, I custom white balanced the camera, a Sony a7S II in Rec 709, so I could study the results on a vector scope using a DSE Labs one-shot chart. I did not change the ISO because that affects colors, so I adjusted exposure with the aperture or shutter instead. No other filters were used. I used the one-shot chart to study how non-skin tone colors changed. For skin tones, I used my hand. Needless to say, this kind of testing is really tedious, so there's no point going through the 30 or more results in this video. I'll publish them in the article that links to this video if you want to study it closely. From this test, I got the following results. The 805 filter proved to be too subtle to be of any use on either of the three lights. The 803 and 804 filters are very close in performance. I studied the data Lee published for these filters and they line up as expected. The only two filters that were consistently useful were the 801 and 802 filters. With the YN900 bicolor light, the filters only worked okay in daylight color temperature. When I changed it to 4000 Kelvin and 3200 Kelvin mode, they absolutely didn't work. There is a slight improvement, but I'm not sure it's worth it. All filters caused a light loss of about a third of a stop, so that's not bad at all. The CN60F Fresnel doesn't need a filter, though the 802 didn't hurt, but it was too close to call, so I'm not sure if it needs it. When you have a good light, it's not a good idea to use a filter. Next I thought, instead of using the filter, could I just change the white balance in the opposite direction in camera? I'll keep it short. It doesn't work. The filters actually do a better job than just white balancing it, even if you get to shift the green and magenta in your camera. Now, if you want to know why, I have published a video earlier on my channel on the limitations of white balance. Finally, I tested the Yongnuo YN900 one last time with my face instead of the hand, with all the 5 filters. The results were the same. The 802 was the closest. However, just to be clear, you will never match a full spectrum source like a tungsten halogen fixture or a daylight source like sunlight. But the good news is the filters do help in eliminating the green spike, so you don't have to waste too much time in post-production, and you can get consistent results quickly. Lee promises these filters will retain up to 80% effectiveness even after 8 months of constant use, and they're thick and durable, so I guess for the negligible price you can make your low-cost LED lights a bit better. So in my opinion, it's definitely worth it. But please do your own testing because every light is different. Now that brings me to my second topic. I know most of us can't afford expensive lights. In the last video, I talked about my lighting setup for interviews, and here's the truth. You can achieve the same results with any kind of light, no matter where you are in the world. Now you can have work or floodlights, tube lights, or CFL bulbs, cheap LED lights, doesn't matter. Today, anybody can buy cheap lighting equipment and cameras, so one of the few ways you can stand out from the crowd is with lighting. For this reason, I've put together a lighting course with more than 15 videos totaling about 5 hours that will take you step by step on how to light interviews for interior locations. I will use DIY materials and cheap lights. I will show you how to light with my DIY fluorescent light bank and still make it look good. If you only have CFL or LED bulbs, no problem. Finally, I show you how to light using my simple LED lighting kit for any interview scenario. Whether you're shooting corporate videos or documentaries or TV shows, you can set up and light an interview indoors, even against windows, in less than 15 minutes. I also tackle reflections in glasses, how to get catch lights in your eyes, and how to avoid unwanted shadows. And you know, when I said it's a detailed guide, I mean it's detailed. You will see me making mistakes and arriving at the final look step by step. This guide is specifically designed so you can follow along regardless of what lights you have. If you're looking for some ideas on affordable lights, feel free to download my free report that shows you the low budget and DIY tools I use to light my interviews and videos. Go to your local hardware store and pick up some lights. I'll show you how to light great interviews with them. It helps if you already know the basics of cinematography. On my channel, you'll find tons of videos on exposure, 3-point lighting, how to read a waveform monitor, and so on. With my course, you'll be able to light professional-looking interviews with just a few weeks of practice. And I have a few surprises as well, but I'll leave that for later. By being able to light interviews quickly, even with low-budget gear, you can earn more money, get better work, and ultimately stand heads and shoulders above the rest of the pack. Lighting is what will set you apart from the rest, so take the time to learn it. In 2 days, I'm going to launch my course for lighting interviews in interior locations, and it will take you step by step from what the lights are to hand-holding you through how I light interview setups using the same subject, which is me. And you know why I'm using myself? Look, I've shot videos before with pretty models. You've seen them on my channel. But guess what? A beautiful woman or handsome man will look good in any lighting situation. That doesn't teach you anything. When you light interviews in real life, you'll be interviewing average-looking human beings. Sometimes it'll be easy, but most times it'll be challenging. I'm going to prepare you for that eventuality. You better get good at lighting normal people in crappy locations because your career depends on it. My course will prepare you. If you're a beginner with some basic knowledge but want to get to the next level, my guide is perfect for you. On the 26th at 12 noon Mountain Time, I'm going to send out an email on how you can sign up for the course. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our newsletter so you won't miss out on that email. As I've done before, there will be a special launch price that is only valid for 5 days. On the 30th, I will close entries to the course so I can catch up and interact with the new subscribers. When the course reopens later, it will be at full price, and I won't be making any exceptions for discounts. So please watch out for my email, and if you haven't already, subscribe now by clicking the link below. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me, and I'll be more than happy to answer any of your questions. Bye now.